Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Couch Chat. Recently I've been accused of not having coffee in my cup. Today I have coffee in my cup. And look, I'll spill a little bit on the table just so you can tell. See? Coffee, right? I wonder if the camera can see that. I hope so. Maybe? Darn. Anyways, I just poured coffee out on my table. So of course we're not in the normal setting. That's because, well, I forgot to record a couch chat, so this is the last minute. But this is coming out like nowish. So today, of course, the church is celebrating the feast of Saint Therese of Lisieux, also known as Saint Therese of the Child Jesus and the Holy Face. And maybe you saw in the bulletin, maybe you remember, this is the patronal feast day of our parish, the Holy Face of Jesus Parish. So today's a big feast day. Now we're going to celebrate it. You get permission universally throughout the church to move your patronal feast day to observe it. Not really move it, but to get to observe it on a nearby Sunday if the Sunday is a Sunday at ordinary time, right? So we can't do that for St. Joseph because St. Joseph is during Lent. We normally can't do it for Immaculate Conception because that's already during Advent. The list goes on and on. You know, St. Lawrence we actually can move, but we can't move St. John because that's always during Christmas time. So, anywho, this Sunday we are celebrating the feast day of Saint Therese of Lisieux, Saint Therese of the Child Jesus and the Holy Face. So when we had to figure out what our feast would be, actually it wasn't ours to figure out, it was the Archbishop's to figure out, we gave him some possibilities and he chose today as our patronal feast day. And back here behind me we have a flag that got made for something with our parish logo, and on it of course is the face of Jesus. And you think about this face of Jesus that St. Therese had such a fondness for, because the face of Jesus is, one, it's a reminder of the incarnation, that God took on humanity, that God has a human face in Jesus Christ, and we wonder about seeing God, we wonder about where is He, and of course the face of Jesus is this reminder that God can see us, that He looks at us, but probably even more important is that we can see God. That we don't have to wonder what God is like, but God actually comes down to us, stoops low to us, so that we can see His face. And it was that face that fascinated St. Therese, that she was on fire with love for Jesus, not the face of Jesus, just like you're not on fire with love for the face of your spouse, but the face of your spouse reveals who they are to you. It reminds you of who they are. You can see it and think of them. Or maybe that's your children, or maybe your parents, right? Our faces, we're not obsessed with people's faces, but actually it gets to the heart of who the person is. And so this devotion to the face of Jesus that St. Therese loved, gets to the heart of who Jesus is. That He's God living, breathing amongst us, God who sees us, God who knows us, and God who we can see. We can see that He sees us. We can see that we're noticed, that we're not forgotten, that we're seen, and there's God. So, you know, when we were designing this logo, or having the logo designed, one of the things that we said to the people who were designing it is, well, we'd like the face of Jesus to be looking at us. Sometimes you'll see images of the face of Jesus with His eyes closed, which very well could have been the case if often the face of Jesus comes from Veronica's veil. And you know, if you're wiping your eyes, normally you're closing your eyes. So you think maybe the divine countenance, the divine face of Jesus would have His eyes closed. But it just seemed important to have Him looking back at us in this logo, that we could see Him, we could see His eyes, because so often the eyes are the window to the soul, right? You can see what's going on in somebody's head and their heart through their eyes. So hopefully you have a great feast day of St. Therese. Today, this Wednesday, we're celebrating it with the Universal Church, but then we're going to observe it this Sunday and, of course, Saturday evening as a parish. So we're going to have different readings. The prayers for Mass will all be taken from St. Therese of Lisieux. And so such a great blessing, you know? Patronal feast day. She's the one in heaven looking out with us with special love and special devotion. So hopefully you have a great feast day. Hopefully you get to celebrate. It's about 10:15 in the morning as I'm recording this, and somebody has already brought in pumpkin bars, so I'm already riding that sweets train, you know, toot toot. So anyways, this is Father Sean for the Holy Face of Jesus Parish, our couch chat with real coffee in my mug. See ya.